So it's been like one hell of a week, it feels like, okay? Like when the sort of agenda got put back on the screen and we started to see what kind of was there on Monday, I was like, that was Monday? Okay, that feels like a month ago, and it's been kind of awesome. I'm kind of reminded of like the first retreat that we did, and Martin Callahan came to me about this kind of time, and he just said to me, "You look like you're going to spend the weekend jet washing the patio, right?" And I think that's going to be like what will need to happen for some of us. We might have to go paint a room or something this weekend just to kind of like, you know, kind of decompress from some of this. But you know, it's been really, really tiring. We've covered like so much stuff. There is so much to our roles, right, in the DRI profession, and we haven't actually talked about any of the specific technical things that are really part of our day jobs that, you know, a lot of people recognise. So it's a big thing, okay? There's so much that's been said around the kind of, you know, the reflective things, so I don't particularly want to, you know, sort of reflect on the whole thing, because you've got your own things that you're taking away. But in terms of, like, from my perspective on this, I mean, I feel for me it's been personally a big success, because right at the start of the event, I said, my job here is to stand up and kind of pretty much introducing things, get out of the way. And I don't know whether anybody realised this, but I was kind of the default kind of panel member or chair or whatever for any of the sessions. And going into the week, I was down for one yesterday. It was like, you know, everybody, you know, people can hear what I had to say on a lot of these topics on the previous DRI retreats. It's really important to get more people and their expertise and their stories out at these things. I actually ended up on no panels whatsoever. So for me, personally, thank you everybody for it being, for me, fulfilling my objective in that regard. And I think it really gives the kind of sense that this is completely, it is a community-owned event. Yes, we do have a lot of support from UKRI, YCD and STFC, and the NHCIR doing a whole load of mechanics behind the work to make this all happen. But it does feel that we've, you know, the community's actually taken a lot of ownership of this. And, you know, I think that it's not as far as, you know, it's gone even further than I thought it would normally would at this kind of event. I think, you know, I've often sort of stood by the door and put people on panels as they're walking through the door and things like that when I've not quite think there's a right mix or whatever. I haven't had to do that this time. What seems to have happened is that, do you know when you're on the train, right? And I love being on the train with my kids, right? And they say, if you see something that's not quite right, say it, see it, sorted, sort of thing. And they point at each other, you know, right? I think, you know, really, what, you know, it's not that, you know, there are obviously, there's some panels where you get, you know, it's going a particular way, and people thought, do you know what? It's just not quite going right. And they didn't just sort of go, oh, that panel was like, you know, went on this tangent and it's like a moan or whatever. People got up and intervened and just basically said, I'm going to put myself here and do that. And so thank you so much for actually not just seeing it, saying it, sorting, but actually owning it and doing something about it and making the event what it is. So massive round of applause to all of you for making this what it has been this week. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. So I just got to say a few final notices. Just to point out, of course, that this is the penultimate event of the retreat. There is still lunch. So please, we have paid and catered for lunch, so don't run off right now as soon as we finish, unless you have a train you've got to catch. Please hang around, and it's a good chance to have that final lunch and chat to people and pick up some of the things we've been learning about and thinking about this morning from our speakers, so that's great. There are a long list of thank yous, of course, and I run the risk of offending by leaving anybody out. So if I do leave someone out, it's not intentional. There are lots of people we would say thank you to. So as Alan has said, this is the third DRI retreat that we've run over 4 years. It's becoming an annual event. It's great to see that the way that it's changed since the very first one. I think some of the comments that are there in the slide, I think Chris put up, is how much the community has changed and evolved in the 4 years since we run the first event. And it is your community, and we're trying to get you more and more involved in the running of it. So this time we had an external advisory board that really helped us to shape the ideas and the programs. We had many more people volunteering to be part of panels rather than having to go out and twist people's arms and try and explain what this crazy thing was we were trying to do. You've now kind of got it, and that's really great. We want to see that grow more and more in the future. So a big thank you to our advisory board and all the panelists. Also a big thank you to STFC. The reason this great event has been able to be held at no cost to yourselves, apart from your train fares to get here, is because it has been underwritten by STFC. So we were successful after the first time when we demonstrated with EPSRC money. STFC bought into the vision. They said, we have a training budget, and we're going to give you a chunk of our training budget so you can train the whole UK, not just STFC people. And that's great. And so Sophie Janacek was here at the beginning and has been really helpful for that. We hope once STFC finds its budget after the comprehensive spending review is over, that they feel similarly about this event and there will be a funded DRI retreat for next year. It's very likely, but it's not guaranteed. So it's great if we can get the feedback from yourselves. I know that the Funding Council people who have been here, we really appreciate having Lee and Santiago as part of our advisory board, and other people have been on different days. It's great to have the contact with the funders and to bring those people into the room so you can see the value of these kind of events and meet the community. And the community people really enjoy meeting you guys and seeing that you are human and you do have a face and you're not just someone who says no at the end of an email. So no, that's been a really beneficial lesson, I think, for lots of people here. And we really do appreciate people giving up their time from all sorts of different walks of life to be here. So I guess, assuming that the funding is there, we'll be putting out a plea for a new advisory board. Hopefully some of our existing advisory board will feel willing to stay on. And maybe some other people will think, actually, I thought it was great, but it could be even better if. If that's you, then your opportunity is there to help shape the next one. Join the advisory board. Just as we saw people joining the panel because they wanted to shape it and take ownership, so too, this is a community event. We're not imposing this from outside. This is a community event. We want you to take ownership of it, and it's great to see that the way that's evolved over the 4 years since the first one. There will, of course, inevitably be a survey going out to everybody, and we really appreciate your feedback on that. In the short term, I believe there's a QR code on your tables that's been there all week, but I don't think anyone's noticed it. That QR code Sam put together to give you some immediate feedback. It's another Slido. Some immediate feedback on what's going on. It's not a Slido. It's a Google form, beg your pardon. It's a Google form. So a change from Slido. It's a Google form. So that's your chance to give immediate feedback, but there will be one of our formal CIR surveys coming out. It'd be great to get your views on that. Sam says it's very, very short. The idea was that you could do that during the day whilst you listen to the sessions or reflecting in the coffee breaks. The other little QR code to point out is on the desk when you came in, there were a number of these little cards with the QR code. This is a TripAdvisor QR code. If you think the staff of Pendulum have been particularly good and particularly effective, particularly Sue and Michelle, you can put a little word in on TripAdvisor, and then they get a little bonus at the end of the year if they get enough people saying that they liked them and did a good job. So that's what those little cards are on the desk. So please make use of that. It would be much appreciated. People have been asking us what's going to happen to all the good things that happened here in terms of the Slidos. That's all been kept and recorded. We've also had all these sessions apart from the Tales and Trenches have been recorded. There is an N8CIR YouTube channel, and all the talks from the retreat will go on the CIR YouTube channel in the very near future. And if you're curious to see how it's evolved, you've got the events from the previous occasions are there as well. And so you can see how things have changed and how some of us have gone even grayer over the years and things like that. So it's your chance to see and maybe share it with other people at your institution who couldn't be here for whatever reason this time. You can use that as a way of advertising and catching up on those sessions that you missed, or what was it that so-and-so said that I thought was really cool, but I forgot to write it down at the time. So those are there to help you. Oh, and for the advisory board, I say we'll probably be doing a debrief meeting in the near future. I'm sure there'll be an email about that. But really good, whilst it's still reasonably fresh in our heads, to think about what worked really well and what could be even better in the future. So advisory board for this year, your job's not quite over. There is one last important task to do, and I think that's going to be a good thing to do. Finally, to drop a few names, I'd like to say thank you to Luke, Joe and Ryan, our AV team, who've been hiding behind the scene over there. Round of applause. They've coped really well with all the challenges we've thrown them in, bringing people online and running the Slidos and flicking it back and forwards. Talking of Slido, seamless. We have been doing these Slidos throughout the week, and Emma put together some of the word clouds that they produced. So these are the things that came out of the questions on each of the different days. So you can see the way that the themes of the different days have been reflected in the word clouds that came out of those 4 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The next one, this was what we got at the very beginning, that very first Slido. So maybe you voted in that very first Slido to think about what is coming through. Although networking is the biggest word, you'll see there's things like there like collaboration and networking with peers and other ones as well. I think we put them all lobbed together into a networking, it'll be an even bigger main word in the center. Having been to the DRI Retreat, you might think, have I actually achieved all those things? Or maybe there's other things that I've got out of it that I wasn't expecting at the beginning. So I think that's really useful. Finally, we had the one about what's your current job role. So I apologize, when I gave the numbers, some people would talk to me. I got the numbers not quite right. But you can see you've got a fairly even split of research, software, data, and infrastructure people, and then the academics and other people as well. So I think in terms of diversity of roles, that's the most diverse we've been in the 3 retreats that we've run. So most evenly diverse? You know what I'm trying to say. So that's really good. And then finally, the little fun quizzes we've been having. In case you're wondering what was the best sci-fi character or whatever, you can see the answers there on the screen, what was voted, and Blade Runner is the best sci-fi film of all time. So I'm glad you agree with me. So that's, I thought you might find that just interesting to see those word clouds that were going on. We deliberately did it all through Slido so that our online people could be equally part of the conversation, part of the votes, and part of the Q&A. We'll be interested to hear your feedback on what you think about that. So please fill in that survey when it comes. Finally, one last very, very important round of thank yous goes to the 4 ladies at the back who have been making this all happen. I'm going to embarrass you by asking you to come forward and receive a little bunch of flowers. So from STFC, we have Georgia and Joe. Come forward. And from the CIR, we have Gronya and Emma. So without further ado, that brings the thank yous to an end. Thank you for coming. We hope you found it a really useful week. Please tell all your friends and colleagues about it. Final thing, lunch.